Hello, welcome all of you. So today we're going to discuss some more of Ajax form validation, and we are going to take some more complex examples. So let me show you what we are going to do. So let's say, okay, let me find the form first. Okay, so we have our form. So what we have example A here is that this is also a similar form, but the difference is that we want to do some validation before we submit, and then whatever message it sends, we want to parse through the message. So it can submit, it will pass a JSON message. JSON, if you don't know, JSON is another type of format just like XML, but it's only a different, more simpler format. So you want to, so that when we submit it, it calls a PHP program. PHP sends data out in terms of JSON, and we want to display it. So validation and the displaying, those are the two things we are doing it a little differently. So let me show you how it works. So let's say, so if you submit it, so I'm displaying some alert message. So it's saying both field contains values. Now result is this is it. So this is what server has sent, and it gets displayed. So let's look at the programs now. So again, we are using this plugins, which is very useful, and this time we are having a lot more things in the options. So remember, it has different it has already built in the library functions. All you have to do is that you have to go different functions. So what you're saying is target is output 1, that's fine. Before submit is validate, so that means it's pre-submit callback. What that means is that it will call the validate function before it submits. So these are the tags, reserved words which you have to use, and these are the sort of functions. Or for example, data type, now it supports, you can put XML, script, or JSON. So you put JSON with a single quote, and it's after success you call it process JSON method, and in the same way you bind the form again, just like the previous tutorial with the options. And so the extra part is really you are defining these functions. So now for example, okay, this is not used, so validate. So validate, what we are doing is that we are getting the value for the name. So now one thing might come to your mind is that how come we are not using JScript, JQuery validation.js? Because we cannot use that, because this is we are using another plugin, and it has, you cannot, these plugins would not be able to work in a very smooth way with the JQuery validation, where you put classical to required and all that. So here you have to define, this is the same way. I mean, it's not also that complex, but it's just not as simple as the typical jQuery validation, which we have done before. So anyway, so what we are getting here is that we are just getting the value of, using the field value method to get the value of name. Name is the element, so we are putting input. So we are using this jQuery syntax, we're putting $, and then we are getting the input element, we are getting name. Then for text area is also a field type here, and we are getting the name of the field is text, so we're getting the field value. And then so we are storing these variables. Now the way field value works is that it basically stores as an array, and what we are saying is that if first element of the array is not null, that, or if the first element is false basically, then we are saying please enter a value. So this is what is checking, is that whether the first element of that array is null. Otherwise we are just displaying this value just as an alert. And then, so this is for pre-submit validation. So just to repeat what we did, we're getting those values. We're using a field value method, and this returns an array, and we are checking the first element of the array to determine if it has any values. Now process JSON is we just have a debug statement alert, but other than that, all we are doing is that output 1, the data.message is, so the data is coming in JSON format, so it is displaying in the message element there. Then show response we are not using anymore, and here it's pretty much standard, this particular form. So if you look at our this function called a.php, so a.php has a simple JSON format. So this is a JSON format where you give your field name or your tag name, and then you do colon, and then you put that. So in this particular one, we are just returning whatever the text was entered. So now when you run it, so it's going through the name equal to David for text is, so this is going through pre-submit callback. So it is checking both fields as the value, and then it has got this message from David Food. This is coming from the server, and then it has replaced it. So I think that hopefully that gives you a good idea about how Ajax works and how easy it is to use the jQuery form plugin to do that. So if you want more information, you can go to jQuery form validation. Let's see if we have it here. So you can Google it. So let me show you a few things. jQuery form. I think this is the page. So what I would like you to see, if you want to do more on that, you go to API, and it has two main functions, Ajax form and Ajax submit. So as you are saying, the Ajax form gives you, does all the work which we've shown in our code, and in examples, see if it supports JSON, XML, HTML. So go through these examples, go through the validation also, how they do the validation. Some of those things we already showed you, so you should not have any more problems. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to send me an email, or you can post it in the forum. I will, hopefully this is one of the useful videos, and jQuery has a lot more features coming along. So anytime, you can go through the jQuery.com, and this has a lot of different particularly if you really get into jQuery, a lot of times you'd be looking for functions, how to do stuff, and they are all in this manipulation traversing. These are the links. Okay, so hopefully you have good experience with jQuery, and hope to see you again in our future videos. Thank you.